What's going on, guys? In today's video we're going to be talking about the Safariland 6354DO and the Safariland 6390 RDS and why I'm not a huge fan of this. Now you're probably like, oh, you already made a video on this, we already know why you don't like this over this. Well, I just kind of wanted to reiterate myself and make the video a little bit more cohesive and why I like this more than this. I'm not going to say the last video was very great, but it did blow up, which thank you guys for blowing that up. Just wanted to bring you an updated video, a little bit more professional thoughts and opinions on both of these holsters. So with all that being said, let's see who we can piss off in the comments section today. On the left here we have the 6354DO, and on the right here we have the 6390 RDS. So the first thing I want to talk about is the size difference and kind of the placement of the fork or mounting system on both these holsters. With both these lined up, as you can see, the 6390 RDS sits significantly taller, while the 6354DO sits significantly lower. Now, I like the 6354DO sitting lower because it doesn't interfere with plate carriers or topside kit. I find with the 6390 RDS being taller, it likes to grab onto cummerbunds, pouches, and stuff that you have on your sides, so not really a huge fan of that. Although it does sit higher, making it a little bit better for sitting down and working in vehicles and stuff. The 6354DO, if set up properly, shouldn't give you any issues. Same to be said with this guy, but I just find for my personal body type and the way I use both these holsters in conjunction with my kit, this guy likes to grab onto the cummerbund of my AVS and the harness a little bit. So the size difference between these is kind of why I lean toward this, along with the lockup issues that I have with the actual locking system inside the holster. Now, the locking system in the 6390 RDS, well, at least my 6390 RDS, pissed a lot of people off in the last video, which is fine. I might just have a bad holster. They told me it was a lack of training, but I don't think drawing a handgun is really the most complicated thing in the world that you need a lot of training for. But with all that being said, I was having a lot of issues, and I still am for the most part, a lot of issues with lockup. Anytime you went to draw the handgun out of this holster, or at least my specific holster, if you put any positive pressure going upwards like you were going to draw before hitting this button completely, it would not release the handgun, and it would lock it up, and you'd have to kind of let the handgun fall back into the holster, then hit the button, then draw. Now that's an issue because obviously if you need to get to this and you can't, could get you killed. But again, it might just be my holster, not really sure. Tried everything under the sun to get it to ease up a little bit, really worked it in, added some lubrication to the mechanism itself, but still no luck with it. I don't know if they changed stuff internally and how it actually latches on to the ejection port, but this holster for me was not really working that well compared to the 6354DO. Both my 6354DOs, excuse me, you could have someone holding the holster while you had two hands on the gun trying to rip it out, would not let go, and you could hit this button with almost no effort and it would release the handgun no problems, compared to this where you couldn't do that. You can't even touch the gun before you hit the button to get it to release, at least with this holster that I own specifically. Both my 6354DOs, exact same, no problems at all. And the third and kind of final point I want to make on both of these holsters is that the 6390 RDS wrap compared to the 6354DO wraps. Now, granted, this is an aftermarket wrap done by Spec Mods. Good guy, check him out. I'll leave a link down below to his Instagram. So this is not an OEM wrap, but the stock wrap on the 6390 RDS, or at least the one I got, is absolute garbage. The material they use on this is super thin and it's been peeling since day one, which again is kind of like a known issue for wrapped holsters. You need to get them rewrapped and touched up, kind of like a car with oil changes. But day one I noticed this holster's material was absolute garbage. As you can see here, you can see adhesive coming through the actual holster wrap itself. This is almost like a 100 denier Cordura compared to like a 500 denier Cordura, which you find on the 6354DO. Again, this is not the stock wrap, so don't come for me in the comments and say, oh, it's because you have an aftermarket wrap. No, this wrap is pretty much neck and neck the same material that came on the holster when it was stock and still Ranger green. Spec Mods did awesome work on this, not sponsored again, but very, very close, kind of like an OEM plus type holster wrap with him, honestly, even better. The stock 6354DO wrap I had on this was very good, very durable. It took a long time before it started to peel. This was peeling on day one, and the actual material itself is super thin, and it is not very good in my opinion. You can tell they kind of cheaped out with it a little bit. But other than that, both these holsters are still great options. I do like, and I know I said I didn't like it before, but I do like this hood now having a optic on my Glock 17. This hood is definitely a little bit superior over this hood design in terms of keeping stuff you don't want to get into the optic, like rain, dirt, debris, if you have an open emitter like I do. This hood is actually a really nice feature, and again, it is removable, so if you don't like it, you can just pop it off real easy. But other than that, I still think the 6354DO is a little bit superior in my personal opinion, and I think it'll work a little bit better for most people compared to the 6390, being smaller and just being a little bit better in terms of the mechanism on the inside. The hood and the aesthetic stuff isn't really a huge deal. Like I said, if you want a cool guy Gucci Mane holster wrap, hit up Spec Mods on Instagram. Super cool guy. Not sponsored by him. I don't get any discounts on wraps or anything if you guys go over there and say I sent you. But check him out. Seriously, guys. Just wanted to make a little bit kind of quicker, more professional video than the last time I made this video, and just reiterate some of the points that I'm still having go wrong with the 6390 RDS over the 6354DO. Both great holsters, they both serve a purpose. This guy has a few more things that you might want to look for compared to this being an older design. But with all that being said, you guys made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'd be happy to answer them. And thank you for watching.